In this series of videos, we're going to look at some more advanced modeling that we can end up doing with Sequelize and also some other Sequelize features. So I've got an empty directory here, and let's just get started. It's easy enough to end up setting things up. So I'm going to do an npm init y. I'm going to end up doing a git init. If I look at my git.status, I'll see that I'll have my package.json. Doesn't really have all that much in it, but I'm going to start installing. And right now I'm just going to end up installing Sequelize. And again, Sequelize has to sit on top of something else that's going to actually make the calls to whatever database you're using. And we're going to be using Postgres. So these two modules I'm going to end up installing. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to, just for now, touch a db.js, run nodemon, db.js, and go over here. Let me also just do a quick git.status. I'll see that I have my node modules folder. You could do this manually by opening up the file, but I just like to echo git.modules into a file that doesn't yet exist, but which will end up getting created, git ignore. And when I end up doing that, all that ends up doing is that if I end up looking at my git ignore, I'll see that it'll have node modules in it. If I look at git.status, I'll no longer have the node modules folder. And let me do a git.add, git.commit. I'm just going to say setup here. So I've got nodemon running here. And let's just get started relatively quickly by going in here. And I'm going to end up opening up my db.js. I'm going to end up putting in, let me close this other one that I don't want here. Try that one more time. So here's my db.js, and I'm going to bring in Sequelize, require, Sequelize. Make this a little bit bigger. And what I'm going to do, and again, we bring that in with a capital because we're going to use this as a constructor. Our connection, you can call it whatever you want to. You can call it client if you want to. Sequelize. And just to get this set up so that we can end up going in and deploying this at some point, we're going to be able to run this in different environments with different databases, database URL, and this is going to be Postgres, localhost. It'll automatically end up using whatever port that Postgres ends up using by default. And what I'm going to end up doing here is I'm going to say this is going to be users, stories, reviews, DB. A little bit long, but we'll go with it. And just for starters, just to get things working, I'm going to start setting up my model. So I'm going to have a user model, con define user. And I'm just going to keep things like that. And just to make sure that I could set things up, I'm going to say con.sync force true. And this should end up creating the tables in my database. So 4 lines of code that we have here. Right, we're going to run into this problem that this database doesn't exist. But if I end up going and opening up Postgres, I could go over here. You don't have to do caps. I just like to create database. And this is going to be our database. Now we'll have our database. Of course, nodemon doesn't necessarily pick up that change. And we've got our setup with one table.